What's happening, everyone? JayShockblast here, and check it out. The season pass is complete for LEGO DC Supervillains, and we have roughly 72 new characters to show for it. There are a ton of new characters to play with that were not included in the main game, going by a bunch of different themes. Here we have our first two characters from the TV Heroes pack. From Legends of Tomorrow, we have the Atom, and Ray Palmer is one of the many versions of the Atom, but he is the Atom in Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash, all that good stuff, and he does all sorts of atomy things, including shrinking. I actually really like this version of the Atom. It's a really cool look. He actually almost made my top 10 list, but something that did make my top 10 list is Black Lightning. Now, when the TV Heroes pack came out, it was early access for people that ordered or bought the game from Walmart. So I would use these characters quite a bit, and honestly, it's crazy to think that after all the DLCs came out, a lot of them ended up being some of my favorites. And Black Lightning's one of them. I don't necessarily watch the show, but I really love his costume. I love the way the colors kind of work out, and I love his lightning abilities when he goes idle and he starts bouncing the basketballs, and he does that. So there's Black Lightning. We also have the TV Heroes version of Grant Gustin's Flash. Again, one of my favorite characters in the game, my favorite speedster in the game. And I think he was actually number 2 on my list of favorite DLC characters that I put up. So this is obviously one of my faves. I love The Flash. I love Barry Allen's version of The Flash. I love Grant Gustin's version of The Flash. And I think a lot of other people share that opinion. Everybody loves speedsters, and he is, as far as I'm concerned, as good as it gets. And I can tell you that no matter how long I play this game, I can never quite learn Gotham properly. He grew. I forgot he grew too. Also in the pack, we have Arrow, Green Arrow from obviously the show Arrow. This is the Stephen Amell version. My favorite DLC character, one of my top 5 favorite characters in the game. Like I said, that TV Heroes pack was phenomenal. I was really happy with it. And I think it was probably my favorite DLC character pack out of all of them. It has to be. You know, 3 of my favorite characters in the game came from it. So we also ended up getting Mr. Terrific, his first look in a LEGO game, and I think they did a really good job with him. He has his spheres. And he doesn't use them to fly or anything, but not really a good look of Curtis. Get him in some light because he has a darker face, but you can see his T kind of face paint. And they couldn't fit Fair Play on each arm, so they just put FP. So good enough. Also from this DLC, we have Supergirl, and you know, I love Supergirl. I loved her in LEGO Dimensions because she turned into a Red Lantern. And Melissa Benoist, I think she's pretty solid as Supergirl. I don't watch the show very much, though. You know what it is? I don't like multiverses, and I don't like the fact that she wasn't really in the same universe as, you know, Arrow and the Flash. And I know they did an okay enough job explaining it and crossing that all over, but I just didn't like it. I'm sorry. I hate multiverses, but she does a good enough job. And there you have Supergirl. Shockingly, the only Supergirl in the game, which is weird. And then we have Vibe. And Cisco here is looking pretty cool, man. So I think they did a good job with this pack. Really happy getting to see some characters that have not been in the game before. And that is pretty cool. Then we move over to the TV Villains pack. Now, most people got this for pre-ordering the game. And was this Indigo or Yeah, Indigo. I honestly still don't know anything about her other than the fact that she is a Supergirl character. So, did not leave a mark. Prometheus. Now, the thing is, he's basically just Green Arrow. But it's still pretty cool that they included him. He was obviously a very big part of the Arrow seasons. So, definitely a character I think a lot of people might have liked. He doesn't look that different, but still kind of cool. Rain is another character from Supergirl, and I used her a lot because she was one of the first flying characters I had access to. And in the early parts of the game, when you're not really able to, get from place to place very fast, it was really nice to have her as DLC as a flying character. So that's really the only time I thought about her much as a character at all. Because I don't watch Supergirl, so I don't really know a lot about her. Probably out of the whole roster, I know the least about her and Indigo. Vandal Savage, fantastic addition. Vandal Savage obviously is Legends of Tomorrow character, and I think this was definitely one of the characters I was hoping we would see. I think they did a really good job with him aesthetically. Love his staff, so Vandal Savage. We also have Vigilante, and I really like the way Vigilante looks. He makes sense as a character to have in the game. Are there other Arrow villains or even Flash villains that I would have rather seen? Maybe, probably, but at least he looks cool. I mean, he almost kind of reminds me of Snake Eyes. Like, I feel like you could almost you could tell me that was Snake Eyes, and I'd probably believe it. So, Vigilante. The best character from the TV Villains pack is Zoom. And I think, any speedster is going to be exciting and fun. You don't get a speedster very quickly as far as when you start the game. So I use Zoom quite a bit. Zoom and Rain were the two characters I think I used the most early on. And Rain it wasn't because I liked her. Zoom, at least I have experience. I think he was one of the better villains they've done in the whole Arrowverse, if you will. So we got Zoom. Deadman from the Justice League Dark DLC. Boston Brand is one of the characters I wanted to see in this game for a long time. Going back to Lego Batman 3. I really like Deadman. Blackest Night and Brightest Day are two of my favorite storylines. I think I tell that every chance I can get because I just love those stories. And Deadman was a really big part of Brightest Day. So to see him in Lego form, fantastic. Next up from Justice League Dark, the leader, John Constantine. And who is it? Matt Ryan that plays him in the Arrowverse. Really a great choice for John Constantine. Definitely one of my favorite characters out of all the DLC. The Hellraiser himself. He's fantastic. I love Constantine. I actually got a Constantine Funko Pop on Free Comic Book Day that they had as an exclusive for comic shops. So this is definitely a character I think a lot of people would really enjoy. I wish this pack had a story. It wasn't just a character pack, but I guess it is what it is. So we also have the Spectre, which is another character that I really was hoping would end up being in one of these, and it made sense to put him in Justice League Dark. He grows. And he flies. So the Spectre is almost like Death. He's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy. And that's not a Roman Reigns speech. But I really liked him, but he is also a little bland, so I can see why people that don't know who he is maybe didn't get it. It kind of has like a Silver Surfer wearing Doctor Doom's, cape vibe to him. But trust me, dude's lethal. There's been a few different people that have been the Spectre as well. So, and we have Zatanna. This is not my favorite version of Zatanna. Zatanna has been in, Lego DC games before. And, I mean, I guess it's fine. It seems like a older, more mature version of Zatanna. But, I don't know. There's something about her that just doesn't feel right. But she's still cool. And I like the Justice League Dark Pack quite a bit as well. Next, we have Etrigan, the demon. And he does not turn into Jason Blood, which is... I mean... I don't really care necessarily, but it would have been a cool little feature to have him do so. Especially because that is something that happens in like the Justice League Dark cartoon. So people that have watched the cartoon, it's probably going to be one of their biggest exposures to this character. But he's been in other games before, but he looks awesome here. So he almost made my top 10 favorite DLC characters list. Next we have Swamp Thing, who we've also seen before. And, it's Swamp Thing. And I think his DC Universe show might have just started. I haven't watched, but I feel like they might have actually done the first episode. I know for a lot of people Swamp Thing isn't that exciting, but... I don't know, he's really cool at the same time. Like, I grew up watching his TV show. Like, he had a pretty cool TV show back in the day. But I don't know, the coolness doesn't necessarily translate over for some reason. But in any event, he's part of the Justice League Dark Pack. Next we get into Aquaman. There are two different Aquaman packs. The first one gives us this version of Aquaman, where he is in his gladiator gear. And then we also have, our traditional Aquaman. This is his kind of king suit, King Atlan suit that he ends up getting. So pretty cool stuff. Love the Momoa Aquaman. Thought the movie was phenomenal and fantastic. And having two more Aquamans, one that plays the harpoon guitar, is pretty cool. Mera. Obviously, Mera is, the wife of, eventually is the wife of Aquaman. And the love interest of Aquaman in the movie. Eventually, she dances with Aquaman here. One of my favorite DLC characters, one I've wanted for a long time. Mera actually is a Red Lantern in the whole Blackest Night storyline. Another reason to love her. Next we have Ocean Master, and Ocean Master has two versions as well. We have his Orm Gladiator version, and then we have his actual Ocean Master version. They both kind of do the same animations when they're idle. Ocean Master is phenomenal. This is a really, really awesome minifig. I think a lot of people are really going to like him. We also have a movie version of Black Manta, and obviously he's a lot blacker and darker and has some more red imprints. He's got the sword in his hand. If we kind of compare him to the in-game Black Manta, or the standard game Black Manta, which is kind of more along the comic lines, I really like his mask being black. It's actually really cool, and the suit is really cool in this case too. So there you have Black Manta from Aquaman DLC. You have King Nereus, which is the father of Mera, and also played by Dolph Lundgren. And if that isn't cool to you, then you have poor taste, my friends. Dolph Lundgren is pretty legendary. So there you go, King Nereus. Then we have Queen Atlanta, who is the mother of Aquaman. Whole story there about how she gets stuck in the trench. And I actually thought Nicole Kidman was really good as her. They made her look pretty young. Then we have a trench monster, which is basically like the swamp monster, just kind of reskinned a little bit. I guess what do you expect, but it's still pretty cool. And this is the Brine King. He's already lived longer than he did in the movie. And he's got like a crab-like big fig feature to him. And then we have Merc. Now I really like these commando suits. I think they're actually pretty cool. He just does regular glide instead of the advanced glide. Got a little laser. Alright, so there you go, Merc. And then last we have Volko, who is kind of a royalty. This is Willem Dafoe's character. I love the way they have him with his arm in the kind of in the back. Very good form, and it really looks cool. It helps define his character a little bit. So yeah, there he is, Volko. And that is the last of the 2 Aquaman DLCs. Next up, we have a character pack for the Justice League movies. We have Batman. Looking down, Jimmy Olsen. Oh, you can't do that. Okay. So this is like every other Batman, basically, just a different costume. This is kind of like the Ben Affleck version of Batman. And then you also have Cyborg. Booyah! I really wish they did a Doom Patrol DLC, but this will work. And you can see it's a little bit more futuristic. And he's a little bit different than he looks in the core game. Super jump. Right into flight. He does not turn into a monster robot, so there's that. You have Deathstroke, Joe Manganiello Deathstroke. I do not know if he will still be Deathstroke. I've heard people like talking about Idris Elba being Deathstroke. That would be awful, and there's plenty of characters he can play. You don't have to, you know, give him the role of Deathstroke for that. Because Deathstroke is very distinctively a certain person, so... there he is with no helmet.
I wonder if there's any magic money trees out there. That'd be nice.
Next up we have the Flash. Now this is the Ezra Miller version of the Flash, and he looks cool. I'm not gonna front. I do prefer obviously Grant Gustin, but you know, I don't think Ezra Miller did that bad as the Flash. I thought it was okay. I thought he did what he was supposed to. You know, like that's the type of character they were looking for. So there you go. There is the Flash. Then we have Superman. Obviously from Justice League and Man of Steel. He does turn into mild-mannered Clark Kent. I mean, it's Superman. You've seen Superman before. I'm not going to spend too much time there. Then we have Wonder Woman. The Gal Gadot. I don't even know how you say it. But her version. And definitely not even the best Wonder Woman in the game. But still pretty cool. Still has that same attitude. Can fly. Cannot fly. I lied. But there she is. Then we have Artemis from the Young Justice DLC. This is the final DLC to come out. And Artemis, like Superman, has an alter ego, which is Tigress. So Tigress is her undercover character when she joins up with Black Manta's kind of crew. She's investigating them. Working for the Brain, I believe. And then Artemis is her Young Justice version of the character. So. And there you can see how they change. Speaking of Black Manta, here is his son Aqualad. His version of his character. I mean, there are other characters they could have done, but I do realize that he's kind of central to things. And there's stuff around town we probably have to do, so. So there you go, Aqualad from the Young Justice DLC. There she is turning back to Tigress. Now, a lot of people are really stoked about this version of the character. This is Kid Flash, one of the many speedsters in the game, Wally West. So, he runs fast, like all of our other speedster friends. But everybody loves speedsters, so... next up we have Superboy. This is Connor Kent as Superboy. And he's got his black t-shirt, his jeans, ready to punch some people. Does not fly, unfortunately, but he does super jump. Makes sense, he doesn't fly in the comics, I don't believe. And we have Miss Martian, who I like a lot. Her design in the last game was okay, but this one is substantially better. And I feel like we've gotten to know her a little bit better with the Young Justice cartoons, if you're watching. And she turns into her true form, which is terrifying, by the way. Very ugly. Not a fan. Sorry, McGann. And the last character we have from the Young Justice DLC is Black Beetle, a big fig, and I understand why they chose him. I mean, he's a little bland, and he is a big fig, so, you know, it is what it is, but there you go, Black Beetle. And then we start getting into the Shazam DLC, and we get the whole Shazam family, or Marvel family, if you will. And obviously we have Billy Batson, who turns into Shazam! Now the Shazam character itself is not that much different than what we got in, you know, the core game. And then on top of Shazam, we also have Freddy, who they call Freddy parentheses Shazam, and he turns into Freddie Freeman, who does not really walk around with his kind of street grabber, if you will. And then he turns back into his Shazam version. Now the whole family does this, and they did a really good job capturing all of them. Obviously we have Darla. Now instead of flying, Darla is a speedster. So I suspect that a lot of people are really going to love her. If you've seen Shazam, you're also probably going to love her. The girl that played her in the movie, the younger version, looks like a dead ringer for Moon Girl. This looks like it could be Moon Girl. So, there you go. There's Darla Dudley. And then we have Pedro Pena. It really comes down to which color is your favorite. So he goes Shazam, and he goes back to Pedro. Good for Pedro. And then we have Eugene as Shazam. Now the little boy that plays Eugene in the movie is actually from Fresh Off the Boat, and he like basically plays the exact nerdy character that he plays on Fresh Off the Boat. It's kind of fun. And there he is as a little kid. So that's Eugene Choi. And then we have Mary Marvel. And she Shazams out as well. Mary Bromfield, I suppose. So there's that. Now, we also had 4 of the 7 deadly sins. When you see the movie, you'll understand exactly what's going on here. I don't know. I think I would have rather them just done another DLC instead of 2 Shazam DLCs, rather than had all or just maybe even had all 7 of the deadly sins. But as it stands, we had envy, gluttony, here's pride, and wrath.
I used to have a yacht in the marina until a giant octopus set up shop there.
Wrath over here doing his best killer,
My mom's place.
General Grodd or whatever. Maybe it's Killer Grodd. I don't remember. For some reason. I would say out of the 4 of them, this one right here is the best. I think he looks pretty cool. Too soon after Man-Bat, though, or before Man-Bat, so I don't know. He's pretty cool, though. What was that? Pride? There's 2 other characters from the 2. This is from the second Shazam pack. You've got the Wizard, who grants Billy his powers. And then you have Dr. Zatanna. And I've heard people say that Dr. Zatanna was like a great villain. I don't necessarily agree. He's kind of boring. I know they had him play exactly who he's supposed to be and everything, but I just thought he was a little boring for me. I was not too into him, but he did his job. So, and you know, it just lets us have another reason to have another Shazam movie. There's going to be a Black Adam movie, and he's going to probably get involved in that somehow. Last but not least, we have the Batman the Animated Series, and here is another Batman.
I'm Batman.
This one straight out of the animated series. Get zapped, Batman. And his fellow star of Batman the Animated Series DLC, the Phantasm.
Don't they know who likes them? Old people, that's who.
And he does this, or she, I should say, does this little whirling dervish move. So pretty cool. This is the best Joker in any Lego Batman or Lego DC game. I love that he has his little jetpack, and I love the way he just like kind of throws his helmet when he's done. It's got all the best parts about Joker, but now he can fly. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the best part. Like, that is literally Joker on his own has always been awesome, especially with Mark Hamill doing the voice. But like, throw on a jetpack and let him fly, phenomenal. Then we have another Harley Quinn.
Oh, gee, I got so much I want to do today. I don't know where to start.
Her core game version has roller skates, and I don't think I can ever play Harley Quinn any other way again than with roller skates. So, you know, this version's okay. It's kind of like your classic version, but I'm spoiled by the version that has the roller skates. The Mad Hatter, I don't remember. I think he might have been in actually one or both of the Lego Batman games, one or both of the first 2, but I don't remember him being in the game. So obviously that's a good reason to have him in the game. I love it when characters haven't been in the game before. You know, I'm generally okay with it as long as we haven't seen them. And I love getting new characters in. So, whether or not the Mad Hatter was new, I think he was. But again, all these Lego games, such a blur at this point. Man-Bat. Now, this is a character that I think is going to be really high on a lot of people's list. He was one of the most... the characters that they left out that people were most disappointed wasn't in the main game. And I don't understand it. He's cool and everything, but he's not for me. Like, I don't know what it is. He's just another guy that flies to me. Weird time for the controllers to not seem to cooperate. I don't know what I'm trying to do here. Anyway, sorry about that. We got Two-Face.
Two-Face. Twice as evil, twice as dangerous.
And I really love the animation for this Two-Face. I don't know that he's necessarily all that different from other Two-Faces, but there's something about this one that really just works for me. And he does some really cool moves. So there is that with Two-Face. And then we have our final character of the DLC, Captain Clown. There are actually 3 others that are not technically part of the Season Pass that I'm going to cover. And this is a very obscure character from the animated series, but made its way in. Now, as I was kind of alluding to, separate from the DLC, there were 4 characters that were released for free in support of the LEGO Movie 2 to kind of cross-promote it as both a video game and a movie. And 2 of the characters are Alfred and Batman. I really like this version of Batman. I think he's kind of cool. And I think he does the advanced glide, which is great. Alfred is it's pretty cool. This is his Apocalypseburg getup, and it works really well. And then the final 2 characters they gave us for free as part of the LEGO Movie 2 DLC were Green Lantern and Harley. So the Green Lantern is definitely my favorite character in the LEGO Movie 2. He's voiced by Jonah Hill, and I just love the way he looks. I almost bought the Apocalypseburg LEGO set just to get his minifig, which is ridiculous considering how many pieces it is and how expensive it is. But yeah, that's why it's almost, and I didn't actually do it. And then I'm going to say this in another video that I do, but this Harley Quinn is fantastic. I just wish she had roller skates and they used her face like the main core game character. Like, that would honestly make for the absolute greatest Harley Quinn ever made. I love her roller skates from the core game, but I do also really like the way that she made Harley a little bit more accessible, and just a really cool character. And I thought she was cool in the LEGO Movie 2 as well. So there you have it, folks. 72 characters. I think with those 4 LEGO characters, it actually brings it to 76. And obviously, like the Pedro, Billy, you know, Mary, and then Shazam, all those count for 2. So, what an impressive character list. Who were some of your favorites? Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you.